and be able to live in a way that allows them to be taken care of, justice for all. I'm excited to be here with you in the studio tonight, and joining me each week, and sometimes leading some weeks, she did last week.
Joining you when you're not here.
Yes. Ms. Amati Braxton, activist, documentarian, leader, nonprofit leader, philanthropist, all kinds of things. Ms. Braxton, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well.
You're doing
good to be here. Nice to have you in the studio this week. You weren't expected to be here. You were
yes,
off sailing the seas.
My parents' 50th anniversary. It was a cruise, and yeah, it's wonderful for them. It got cut short, and I'm going to talk about that in weeks to come. But I have been advised not to talk about it yet, and that experience and some things that happened during that did not go well. So there's more to come on that, but I need to...
I'm intrigued.
...not say much at this moment, and we are going to talk about that in the future.
Okay.
But I'm glad to be here. As always, I love being here with our listeners here in Philadelphia, Delaware, and New Jersey, folk from around the country who are listening to us live. As a matter of fact, I need to get our feed going here on Facebook so people can check us out and participate with us.
Well, while you do that, I would like to just take a moment to send a shout out to the heavens, or wherever she is right now, to my wonderful neighbor who passed last week, Lucille Martin. And she was just a wonderful, wonderful person, a very loving, caring person. She had grown up on the block where I now live. I moved there almost 3 years ago. And from the moment I moved in, she just was very welcoming, very caring, always was looking out for me, always was there to offer me advice about the neighborhood, about what I should know about the history of the block. And just was somebody who was always friendly and, you know, inviting me over to, you know, hang out and chat. And, you know, she was just one of those people who was a wonderful presence on my block and a wonderful presence as my immediate next door neighbor. So I want to give a shout out to her. Her memory, her energy is still being felt, of course, by those of us who live on the block, even though she's not physically present. The memories of her stay with us. And I want to give a shout out to her family members, particularly her daughter Bree and her grandson Briere, who I know are feeling a lot of sadness and loss now, but also will continue on with her, the memory of her and her love and care and all of the fun she liked to have. So just wanted to acknowledge her publicly on the air. Lucille Martin, you will be missed.
Amen. Thank you for doing that and sharing that. It's important that we celebrate and remember those folk that have had some impact in our lives, and so we're very grateful for her legacy and her impact on you.
Yeah, and just, you know, I mean, everybody can just take a moment to think about a neighbor that they've had who is like, you know, a daily presence or weekly presence in their life, who makes their life and their quality of life better just, you know, by being there and being a presence. And that's what Lucille was for me. So I really appreciate her, and I'm going to miss her.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So there's a lot going on that we want to lift up in the news and going on this week. Many of you have been following a variety of stories that have been happening in the news. First, you know, we cannot let a week go by somewhere or another where we're not criticizing Donald Trump as president of the United States.
It's getting tiring.
It is getting tiring. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
But like, George Conway, so Kellyanne Conway's husband this week just said he's unhinged.
Kellyanne being the special advisor.
Special advisor to the president.
Unquote,
yes.
To the president. I mean, word is that she has talked crap about the president herself.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Behind closed doors.
I mean, come on, let's be honest, right? Nobody ever just totally loves their boss. Nobody ever totally loves the boss. And so there's some challenges with that. So there's, but, you know, the husband...
I've heard she despises him as a human being. She thinks he's a joke.
That doesn't surprise me.
She's just getting a paycheck.
Surprise me. That does. Well, hey, it's probably a good paycheck if she's getting it. And I mean, I don't know what kind of credibility she's going to have in politics after the Trump administration. You know, at some point, sometimes you just got to be, you're like, okay, enough is enough. There's not a way we're going to deal with this anymore. But this is absolutely crazy. And part of this is coming up as a result of the fact that Donald Trump keeps bringing up John McCain's name 7 months after the man's been buried.
It's so shameful.
Not only is it shameful, but it was just, it's just embarrassing. Meghan McCain, whom I don't like.
Well, I wasn't a big fan of John McCain either, but, you know, I'm like, the man is dead and gone. Why are we talking badly about him now?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I felt for Meghan McCain, who's his daughter. She's one of the co-hosts on The View. You know, and she felt bad because they're having this conversation on The View about this, and she's got to like defend her dad. And I'm like, after all these months and years, you're, you know, bringing his name back up again. So, I mean, after all these months, he's bringing his name back up again. And, you know, Trump's like, he gave him a special funeral. It's actually interesting. In a very nice, nasty way, the National Cathedral, which is the national church for the Episcopal Church, as reported in The Root, politely called out Donald Trump for being a liar. And basically, they said, and I quote, Washington National Cathedral was honored to host the funeral service for Senator John McCain. All funerals and memorial services at the cathedral are organized by the family of the deceased. Only a state funeral for a former president involves consultation with government officials. No funeral at the cathedral requires the approval of the president or any government official. So John McCain lied in state at the Senate, and I believe it is the Senate, the majority leader and the president pro tem, which would have been Vice President Pence, would approve him lying in state, or either the Speaker of the House. One of those three approves that. Donald Trump has nothing to do with that. Then he went to there was a funeral at the National Cathedral, which is controlled by the National Cathedral. It's an independent, even though it's called National Cathedral, it is an independent church. It is an Episcopal church that has nothing to do with the federal government. And then finally, he had a funeral back in Arizona, where he was finally interred. So Donald Trump has been running around talking, he's upset because people didn't thank him for all that he did. I mean, the most that they could thank him for was not showing up, because they did not want him to show up, because John McCain hated Donald Trump's guts. So that was certainly a thing. And then George Conway, you know, jumped in and just said, this guy's coming unhinged, and this is certainly problematic. You know, basically he's been using a bunch of Freudian terms to define Donald Trump. And it is, it's just terrible what's going on with this. He just doesn't, just let the man lie in peace. Just let him lie and rest.
I mean, it's one thing if after McCain has died that you want to speak critically about his policy positions or anything like that. I'm fine with that. But this is just petty,
absolutely,
you know, disparaging remarks that, you know, have no purpose except to, I guess, to make 45 feel better about himself.
Yeah.
You know, classic bully behavior, you know.
Absolutely.
Put someone else down to make yourself feel better. But anyway, I almost feel like I don't even want to give it more airtime because he's just so ridiculous.
I hear you. Well, I mean, you had something that's coming up with the presidential candidates. They're refusing to speak at an event.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up. So there has been a campaign by progressives to encourage the Democratic presidential candidates to skip speaking at the AIPAC conference this year. And the AIPAC conference is, oh gosh, what does it stand for? It's like the American Israeli Political Action Committee, I think.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But they're a lobbying group, a very powerful lobbying group on behalf of the state of Israel, particularly the right-wing government that is in place now. And it has been a, you know, it's kind of like an annual rite of passage or an annual thing that all candidates do during an election season is to go address AIPAC because they, you know, it's just kind of accepted as a thing that you must do. But what we've seen this year, I think partly because we have the first Palestinian elected member of Congress, we also have more Muslims in Congress for the first time, right? And you're starting to see in the movement to work for human rights for Palestinians, you're starting to see that movement gain ground. And we've had, you know, I would say at the forefront of that movement, one of the groups at the forefront is Jewish Voice for Peace, which has been on the show. There's also a lot of Palestinian organizations out there working on it. But you're starting to see a kind of a peak in power in that movement in terms of their ability to get the message out about some of the human rights abuses that are happening, and also the connection between, I think we've talked about on the show, the connection between the way that the Israeli Defense Forces export their tactics of counterterrorism and surveillance. They export those tactics to U.S. law enforcement agencies at the local and municipal level. They have this program that's like an exchange program, which activists who are fighting against it are calling deadly exchange, where basically, like the police force in Ferguson had been trained by the Israeli Defense Forces in terms of the kind of militarized tactics they were using, the kind of militarized surveillance tactics. All of that is happening through this exchange, right, that happens between Israeli military forces and the U.S. Law enforcement. So those kinds of things are starting to be pointed out. And I think you're seeing, you know, you're seeing a kind of breakthrough happen for the first time where people are saying, well, actually, we can criticize the policies of this right-wing government in Israel and how they're treating Palestinians, and also how they're treating African Jews.
Absolutely.
In Israel.
Yes, they have a race problem over there.
And we don't have we don't have to conflate that with anti-Semitism.
That's right.
Which has been a kind of a way to squash any kind of criticism as Israel, to say anything you criticize about us is anti-Semitic.
Right, absolutely.
And so that is kind of being broken down now. So for the first time, you have these mainstream candidates who are refusing to speak at AIPAC, which is pretty phenomenal. So far, the people who have refused are Pete Buttigieg, who is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, who is a very interesting candidate. I've been watching him a lot lately. Elizabeth Warren. Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris, who last year spoke at AIPAC, and I was kind of holding that against her, but I'm glad to see that she's come around to the right position on that.
She's learning.
Julian Castro. Beto O'Rourke. Jay Inslee. And those are the ones who have so far agreed not to speak there. So that's major. That's major. One of the people who has really cozied up to that lobby, I think, has been Cory Booker.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a big Wall Street guy too. So that's a lot of people are like, "Oh, Cory Booker's so progressive." I'm like, this guy is like in bed with Wall Street. I don't know how you can say that, and do that. Let me just jump in real quick and just say, for those that are listening, the Mueller report is in. So it's just broke on the news. We actually have NBC News on here in the studio. It went into the Justice Department. So the report just went into the Justice Department. I know folk are like blowing up Facebook trying to let us know. Thank you, Raphael, David Collins, and others for letting us know that. But yes, it is a thing. The Mueller report is finally in. So the next week is going to be very exciting. Call
your senators and Congress people and tell them we got to see that report.
Absolutely.
That report has to be made public.
Absolutely. That report's going to be massive. So we need to see what's happening with that and make sure that we are engaged in whatever needs to happen. I mean, it would be lovely to see Donald Trump you know, on the impeachment table. Even though Nancy Pelosi says...
I want to see him in handcuffs.
But hold on, let me just say this, though. Nancy Pelosi has said she's not ready to push for impeachment. But Auntie Maxine tweeted the other day that she's like, I don't know about anybody else, but we need to be pushing for impeachment. So that's Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
She's been talking about that for years now.
From day one, she was talking about that. She was not playing, and you know, there's no love lost between her and Donald Trump. Absolutely no love lost whatsoever. So hopefully we'll see that. So I'm thankful for all the candidates that they're choosing not to speak at AIPAC. And I hope that these same candidates, I'm actually watching to see how the candidates are handling Congresswoman Omar, if they're backing her or not,
right,
for some of her critique that she's had of AIPAC as an institution.
I want to just correct. It's the American Israel Public Affairs Committee.
But they're a PAC, though. They are a PAC,
yes.
A political action committee, yeah.
Yes, but they are. But AIPAC stands for American Israel Public Affairs Committee. I don't want to be giving out bad information.
No, that's fine. I get that. I appreciate you, making sure we clarify that on the air. Here's the thing. So I don't know if you heard about this, but Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, this is the week of Purim for the Jewish community, and Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, who's not a religious figure, but the Secretary of State, said that perhaps Donald Trump was brought into power for such a time as this to save the Jews.
Wait, say that again?
Mike Pompeo. It's right here. I have it right here. On USA Today, it was reported. So I want y'all to know this is a legitimate site. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo basically said that he believes, because there's the whole thing about the Golan Heights, about the U.S. recognizing the Golan Heights, and
yes.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, this is reported today in USA Today, said it's possible that President Donald Trump may exist to save the Jewish people from what an interviewer called the Iranian menace. And it came during an interview that he did with the Christian Broadcasting Network, talking to their Middle East bureau chief. Mitchell went on to, Chris Mitchell, who's the correspondent, compares Trump to Queen Esther, who saved the Jews according to Old Testament story. And he asked the question, could it be that President Trump right now has been sort of raised for such a time as this, just like Queen Esther, to help save... Are you
kidding me?
No, to save the Jewish people from an Iranian menace.
He's trying to make some weird connection to Purim using Trump as...
Yes.
He's equating Trump to Esther?
Yes.
Get out of here.
Mike Pompeo said, as a Christian, I certainly believe that's possible. And so, yes, this
Not
is...
as a Jew, but as a Christian.
As a Christian.
Okay.
Let's ask the Jewish folks what they think about that.
That's some twisted Christian...
But I just want to say, it's twisted... right-wing Christian crap.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of us left-wingers or moderates that would be like, that's crazy.
No. I agree.
That's crazy. I can't. When I read that, I said, we've got to say something about this on the air, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous all the way around. So there you have it. Mike Pompeo thinks that Donald Trump is Queen Esther. All right, we got to take a break here. We are running out of time. This is like the first 20 minutes like we've had together in a while. It's like we're just,
I know. It's like
wild,
wild west in the studio right now.
Absolutely.
But when we come back after the break, we will have, I think we're going to have Councilwoman Helen Gim on. To talk about her tax abatement bills that she had introduced in January, to see what progress has been made. So you are listening to Urban Insights on WURD. We'll be right back after the break.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
It's busy this evening on the Philly roads. This traffic report is sponsored by the podcast Monster, the Zodiac Killer. On the Schuylkill Expressway, eastbound jam traffic from 202 to Belmont, again Montgomery to University. Westbound Schuylkill, that's stop and go University to Girard, the Boulevard to Belmont, then you're heavy through the Conshohocken curve. On the Vine Expressway, it's jammed eastbound 76 out to Broad Street, westbound from the Ben Franklin Parkway back to the Schuylkill Expressway. 95 northbound, stop and go the Vine Expressway into Girard. Southbound 95, that is jamming from 420 into the Commodore Barry Bridge. Slow traffic on the Boulevard northbound, the Schuylkill Expressway up to about Broad Street. And on the Blue Route 476 southbound, still seeing some jam traffic. St. David's down to Route 1. A crash now taking out the left 2 lanes. The right lane's getting by. Northbound Blue Route is heavy getting on from 95 to north of McDade. Walt Whitman Bridge eastbound slows into New Jersey. That's because 42 southbound jams from the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. 676 southbound jams, Morgan Boulevard down to 42. And 295 southbound slows 73 to 70. And it's heavy again from Warwick Road down to 42.
The idea of committing a crime and then calling up the police and bragging about it, that's a whole nother level of terror.
From the creators of Atlanta Monster comes Season 2. This is Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app.
For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. I'm Brendan Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Brothers and sisters, don't miss The Source. Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Word Radio, WordRadio.com, and the Word Radio app. The Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts presents the Monterey Jazz Festival on tour for one night only, Saturday, March 23rd. Celebrating its 60th anniversary, the Monterey Jazz Festival is one of the longest-running jazz festivals in the world. The tour, now in its 5th year, features a top roster of diverse Grammy Award-winning young talent and the leaders of jazz's future, including Cecile McLaurin-Salvant and Christian Sands. Saturday, March 23rd. Tickets at kimmelcenter.org.
The Mattress Man is a second-generation family business. They're open 7 days a week and are located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best quality and prices on name-brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Mattress Man discounts Serta, Memory Foam, Orthopedic, and Comfortech. Same-day delivery is available on most models to most areas. All of the mattresses are brand new, nothing refurbished. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
Join the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church for the Envision You Expo, an event for youth in grades K through 12 and their families, on Saturday, March 23rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Engaging, informational, and interactive sessions with a focus on the trades and professional careers at the Enon Life Center, 2800 West Cheltenham Avenue. To register and get more information about the expo, look for pre-registration after worship services or go to www.edsupportatenontab.org.
Phenomenal Everywhere audio book release party from world-renowned empowerment artist Lacey C. Clark is this Sunday, March 24th from 3 to 6 p.m. See the world through a black woman's eyes. The live performances and scenes from the show. For tickets, order at www.peverywhere.com. See you there.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to Urban Insights. This is Dwayne Royster along with Amadi Braxton.
Hello.
I'm excited. Actually, today, my wife and youngest daughter rode up with me to be in the studio. They were going to be in the studio. I was trying to get my daughter to come on air for a minute. She didn't want to, and then claimed in the middle of all this she was hungry. So my wife had to go take her out.
Well, once she got into the studio and saw herself on the live feed, I think she got kind of excited about the possibility.
Yes. But then her stomach took over, and then she wanted to go get something to eat. So
look, teenagers are always hungry.
Yeah, she's 14, and that's a whole nother thing. So anyway, thank you for indulging, both you and Troy, for indulging them and meeting them.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate that. I've been trying to get her up here for ages. I would think that she would be interested because, Dad's on the radio. She would want to see that, and she absolutely has no interest whatsoever. I would have been like going crazy, like, yeah, let me go. I want to go see it. She didn't. But anyway, that's another story for another day. She's probably listening right now. She and her mother are out trying to get food. If you're listening, Joy and Suzette, hello. Okay, just again to remind folk, the Mueller report is in. I wish I could get my hands on that report. I want to see a copy of it, but it's going to go through a vetting process in the Justice Department. They're going to, things that might be sensitive, they're going to block out. Eventually, a copy of it will be sent over to Congress. But Congress is concerned that the Justice Department might block out things that they want to see. So there's a lot of concerns about how this report is going to be disseminated and how it's going to be read, how people in the community will be able to get a hold of it. So I don't know. How do you feel about the Mueller report finally coming out?
I feel great. I'm like, finally, the waiting is over.
Yes.
We're going to have to wait now until they, determine what portions will be released or how much will be released. But I think this is a time for the public to demand that the full report be released publicly.
Yes. Unredacted.
Yeah, unredacted. If there's, security information that is in there that would compromise individuals, I get it. But generally, most of it should be seen by the public.
Absolutely.
And there's been this whole back and forth about, should we impeach Trump or should we not impeach him? And part of it is like, do we do a political calculus that it would be better to just defeat him at the polls for the 2020 election than to take him out of office early this way.
Yeah.
And, you know, what would be more, you know, would that be more divisive to impeach him versus this? You know, I think that regardless, if this report combined with all the information that will be coming to light from all of the congressional investigations that are happening right now with the Democrats in control, all of that is serving as an impeachment process to a certain extent. Even if they're not officially calling it, we're going through impeachment, it is revealing all of the dastardly deeds, all of the criminal activities, all of the poor judgment, all of the corrupt intent and corruption that's in his administration. As you know, as more and more of that comes out, the public is going to turn even further against him. And, you know, impeachment could happen, but you know, by the time it's unclear to me the timing of all of the results of all of the investigations that are happening.
Yeah.
They might coincide with his campaigning for 2020.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think in either case, all the dirt is going to be coming out, and that includes this report. So I'm thrilled the report is complete, and you know, I was hoping to see Jared Kushner in handcuffs before that. Maybe he will still be put in handcuffs. But I'm glad it's done, and this is kind of like the next big hurdle or milestone in this whole process that I'm like glad is finally here.
Absolutely, me too. I'm just concerned about what is going to happen in the Department of Justice and who's going to handle the stuff over there. Like, because the Department of Justice will have to give Mueller the okay to continue pursuing prosecution. So we'll have to see what comes out of this. But
time to pressure your Congress people to demand that the report be released.
Can I give a shout out to Pat Toomey for a minute?
No, you cannot.
Okay, wait a minute. Look, when you do right, I got to say you did right. Pat Toomey.
Okay, you could thank him, but you don't have to give him a shout out.
All right,
a shout out to me is like a higher level of praise.
All right, I'm not giving Pat Toomey a shout out. I'm just saying,
I gave Lucille Martin a shout out, my neighbor.
Yes.
She is at a much higher level than Pat Toomey in my book.
I got you. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. Pat Toomey was one of the 12 senators that voted with the Democrats to override Trump's decision to
call a national emergency
on the border.
I noted that. I noted Pat Toomey was among them.
I was shocked. I'm only saying nice things in the moment because that was one decision out of a whole lot of bad decisions that he's made, bad votes.
99% of the time he votes with Trump.
Yes, he does. But in this one particular circumstance, he stood inside the Constitution and felt that this was an overreach of powers on the part of the president. And I was like, hey, okay, that's good.
And we don't know if he did it because he saw enough other Republicans were doing it that he could have cover.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
There's not enough.
Like, it might not have been a high and righteous decision. It might have been like
politically calculated, right?
Yeah.
He knows Pennsylvania is a purple state, and he's got to be up for election in a few years. I think the biggest thing, though, is that he did it. It's not a veto-proof majority, so it can still be. It can still wind up being that it doesn't. You know, it's going to continue going forward. But the fact that he stood up and did that, I just appreciated that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. When they do wrong, I'm going to call them out. And when they do right, I'm going to say, okay, you did good.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yep. We can move on now. That's enough attention on him.
Next week, we'll be back on something that he did wrong.
I'm like, one small thing that he has done right in all of his, 8 years he's been in office?
Something like that. Yeah, it's going on now.
Like, okay, he can get a little pat on the shoulder, and that's it. Move on.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, we'll move on. Well, listen, Ron has been patiently waiting online. Ron from North Philly, welcome to Urban Insights.
Yes, and I'm glad to be on, and I'll do it real quickly. I have a question for you, but I have a comment to make about the state of Israel. Roosevelt died in 1945. Truman became the president. The Zionists for the state of Israel at that time was Theodore Herzl, 1836. Then, when he came in, Dr. Ralph Bunche was the head of the United States representative for the state of for the United States, and bringing in existence with that pact they had over there. And that's why it's very important that the public here have something to say to their president about the decisions that they make in that manner. Anytime that you start restricting people from their comments in the United States of America in reference on the issue which we offer, our government is involved in it, we have some say in it. So I find it to be, and I think that, and I say this respectfully, that the people that have been persecuted, like many other people, they should be the last person to try to censor someone in the United States of America for having an opinion on the issue. My question to you, sir, as we look at the Bible, and I'm glad that you're a minister that's out here in the community, you know, the Bible reminds us, heaven needs no help. The Bible also says, on earth as it is in heaven. And I interpret that as being like a pastor like you that's involved to make it different, to make a difference. Mm-hmm. Remember what Jesus said. Render unto Caesar what Caesar, and give the Almighty God what's his. So we have an earthly responsibility by choice to make a difference in this country. So I'm glad you and your co-host there are constantly informing us with information. And this is what I like about this station, because when if they listen in and able to engage, they can be much better, voters. And I want to thank you, Pastor, because you know yourself, Pastor, that purpose in life means a lot. And I'm glad that you are encouraging our people, and I say your young people, and I'm just glad that you have education, because it's very important. It's not to put anyone else down, but when you're educated and have knowledge on the issue of this country, you can make a difference. So thank you, both of y'all, for allowing me to make my comments. Thank you, both of y'all.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Ron, for being on the air. It looks like our guest is on the air with us now. Madi?
Oh, okay, great. Councilwoman Gim?
Hi, I'm Madi.
Hi.
Bishop. It's great to hear from you both.
Thanks.
Thank you for being on. We really appreciate it. We know that this is a busy season, so we appreciate you making the time.
Absolutely.
Well, I've been wanting to bring you on for a while now, since you had introduced a couple of bills related to reforming the city's 10-year property tax abatement and trying to utilize that money for better purposes like our schools. And I was struck by the fact that you had introduced two different bills for the same purpose. And so I'd love to, number one, hear about the difference between the two bills, because I know you're basically trying to offer a couple of different options of how to go about ending the tax abatement over time. So I would like to hear a little bit more about what the two different bills would do, but then also where are they in process at this point?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much, and thank you both for your incredibly moral voice on issues that face our city. I really, really appreciate it, and your history of work here in Philadelphia. So it's great to be on with you both. So I've actually introduced 4 different bills to take a look at the 10-year tax abatement.
Oh, 4 bills, okay.
The reason to introduce 4 bills is because, you know, I'm trying to push change. I think we are at a stage where we're more likely that now than ever to see an evolution in this tax subsidy that hasn't changed for 20 years. I think it's important to acknowledge that it was created 2 decades ago. It has led and kickstarted development that has developed Philadelphia to the stage where it is today. But it does not have to stay fixed. Subsidies don't have to stay fixed in time forever. You know, like just because something existed once doesn't mean it has to exist this way and exactly this way in the future. And the most important thing for your listeners to understand is I don't care how big a city you are or how rich or poor a city you are. One of the most powerful tools at your disposal is the ability to forgive taxes and to incentivize certain types of things that you want to have happen in your city. So the 10-year tax abatement needs reform because right now it is fueling inequitable development in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. It's incentivizing brand new single-family construction in low-risk parts of our city that are already hyper-developed, and it is a major vehicle for underfunding our schools. We spend like almost the city forfeits, you know, in total, it would be like $90 million in tax abatements that continue on, you know. And so...
that's annually $90 million a year?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you totaled them all up together, it would be $90 million we forfeit. Wow. 50 of that $1 million goes towards the schools, right? So it is a cost to the city. It's also the belief is that it's not like the schools are paying it; it's that they're forfeiting the possibility of that money.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, like, what do we want to do with the 10-year tax abatement? Like, do you want to trigger development? It was originally written for deteriorating areas of the city, but I don't think anyone would argue that certain parts of the city that are gaining the most from the 10-year tax abatement, namely Center City and the areas just right in and around University City, certain parts of Southwest, South Philadelphia, they're not deteriorating. It was, the different bills take a look at different ways for us to talk about the tax abatement. One is to, like, if you're concerned about inequitable development, I proposed two bills, one which would restrict it by geographic boundaries, so maybe you cut out certain parts of the city, leave it in others.
So where the tax abatement benefit would only be applied in certain geographic areas. Okay.
Yeah, would be defined by geography. Or two, you can cap it so that, we put in a cap of, we estimated just like above, certain federal rates. But roughly around $400,000, which is extremely high for most neighborhoods, right? But what it does is it stops, like, the multi-million-dollar family homes or, like, anything above $400,000, which is clearly out of the range of, like, any kind of level of what would be considered, like, normal development. Those you get an abatement up to $400,000 roughly, and obviously that number can change, but you get up to a certain number, and then all the amount of money is taxed at a normal rate, and that would quell, like, it certainly would eliminate the idea that luxury multi-million-dollar developments get to benefit from the 10-year tax abatement.
Right, like the people who don't need the benefit.
Exactly.
Of anybody, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we can play around with the cap, wherever, however people think that it's fair. But, the cap, I think, and we can only apply it to single-family homes. I think, like, a multifamily would need a different kind of construct. But, that's a conversation if we're, like, leaning towards that. If we're concerned about school funding, I proposed two bills that could take a look at how to modify the 10-year tax abatement so that we don't hold our schools, so we don't hurt our schools while the city is developing, So one is to completely eliminate the school district side of it, so basically cut the abatement in half. Forgive the city end, but not forgive the school district end. Or the second one would be to phase it in as a steady amount over time, 10% every year. You could, do more or less, however you want to do it, but it gives the school district a steady amount of money. Obviously, other colleagues, one of them has proposed a 20-year tax abatement, so there is, what I wanted to do was to show a sensible range of things that would end the 10-year tax abatement as it currently exists and move us towards a smarter set of tools that we can use going forward.
Can you just explain a little bit further for people who maybe are confused by it, like me, admittedly, just the relationship between the tax abatement and the school funding?
Yeah, so the tax abatement is a forgiveness on property taxes. So the idea is that new development or any new construction in the city of Philadelphia, to incentivize it on developers who then sell it to property owners. Mm-hmm. They sell new construction with a 10-year tax abatement, which means that I'm glad you asked that, it forgives property taxes for 10 years.
Right, and so and these are on new properties, newly built?
Yes, correct. Yes, and it can actually apply to rehab and significant rehab and to commercial, but because it's such a blanket abatement, it is overwhelmingly it's over incentivizing brand new construction that is residential, and I think that's what most of our residences are seeing because it directly impacts their concurrent taxes. You have new people coming in to communities and neighborhoods who are not paying taxes, and the rest of us, are trying to get by on funding our schools, delivering city services, and the question is like, does it make sense to shrink the number of people who could pay taxes, for an expanding set of city services? And I would argue that answer is really no, especially now and in particular areas. Maybe 20 years ago, when we struggled to get people to live in Philadelphia, when our population was declining rapidly, where we were losing residents on a routine and regular basis, maybe that made sense then, but we're not back in the 1990s. We are here in 2019, and as we move forward, we really need to ask ourselves, what should our city look like, and what are the tools that we can do to best make those things happen for us.
And so the connection with the school funding is that the property taxes are a huge base for school funding.
About half of your property taxes go directly towards the public schools. It is the bread and butter of school funding, for better or for worse. It is the one set of taxes that the school district does not have to beg, scrape, and plead for, because it's due them by right. Every single other thing that we use to fund our schools has to come on top of and be negotiated with residents or with Harrisburg, which makes it very difficult. So a shrinking pool, like if the school district's fundamental tax base is handicapped, then we have a problem. So, there's a compelling reason right now, because we've got a school system that has toxic school buildings. We're struggling to keep teachers teaching in our school system. We're trying to add in more supports for young people who need it. It doesn't make sense to handicap the schools in a significant way like that. It's not worth it.
I'm sorry.
No. Well, I was just going to say, I know we're up on our break, but quickly before you go, could you just tell us where the bills are in process right now in council?
They're awaiting a hearing. I would urge, and I'm hoping that our city council will be open, if not to a single hearing on any single bill, to an omnibus bill hearing, so we can just get some information out about where our residents are, what the best information and data is about, how these incentive tools impact development and sales and likelihood of residents, and also financial impact on the school district and on the city. So I think all those things are really important to have. So, my hope is that City Council would move towards an overall hearing to listen to the overall bill so that we can make a better informed decision going forward.
So it's like you've provided a few different options, and you need to test out those theories to see what they would actually produce in terms of costs and savings and everything for the city, and present some realistic data that then people can move forward on.
Exactly, and we want to hear from residents themselves what their appetite is, and what they want to see incentivized. Like for me, I would like to incentivize rehab and preservation, and not so much brand new residential construction, especially when it's skewed far above most people's ability to pay. And that probably, like, the abatement should be tied, more towards affordability than it is towards luxury. But because there's no cap, there's no limits on it. It's a blanket abatement. It's the most generous tax abatement subsidy program in the entire country.
Wow.
We have a responsibility and a right to be able to amend it. But, it's important for your listeners to weigh in. The WURD community is progressive and thoughtful and passionate about this city and its schools and its young people and its residents. And so the more noise that's made from the WURD community and from neighborhoods and ordinary Philadelphians, I think it's going to have a big role to play on what direction City Council decides to choose to go.
Great. Any sense of timing
on... What we shouldn't do is not talk about it.
Yes. Any sense on timing of when a possible hearing will happen?
I would like to see one happen this spring, because if we're going to make changes, they should happen soon.
Yeah.
People can't wait, and, things are on the line, and including, our development community needs to know where things are going and, what things look like, and we shouldn't do it from a place of fear, but from a place of possibility. It opens other things up. We have an entire city that needs support and progress, and we can do it hand in hand with, with lots of different communities to see an overall rise in the quality of life for every single neighborhood. But people should not have to suffer under a 20-year-old tax subsidy program that right now is not the right vehicle for Philadelphia's future.
Right, exactly. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. We know you're very busy. We appreciate you making the time to talk about this, and we'll have to have you back on in the future because there's so many things that we would love to talk to you about.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. You're listening to Urban Insights on 96.1 FM, 900 AM. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Quite a few slow spots on the Philly roads. This traffic report is sponsored by the podcast Monster, the Zodiac Killer. On the Schuylkill Expressway, as you head eastbound, jam traffic getting on at 202 down to Gladwin. Again, the Boulevard to University. Westbound Schuylkill jams from University to Montgomery. The Boulevard out to Belmont, and you're heavy through the Conshohocken Curve. On the Vine Expressway, eastbound it jams 76 over to 95. Westbound is heavy, the Ben Franklin Parkway to the Schuylkill Expressway merge. 95 northbound, it's stop and go. Neiman's Road to the Commodore Barry Bridge. Again, the Vine Expressway to Bridge Street. South on 95 jams. Cottman down to Girard. From Ridley Park down to the Commodore Barry. Boulevard northbound slows the Schuylkill Expressway into Broad Street. And on the Blue Route 476 southbound, jam traffic St. David's to Media Swarthmore from an earlier crash. Also jammed on the PA Turnpike eastbound, heading from Willow Grove to Bensalem. Left lane blocked by a crash at mile marker 348.3. Walt Whitman Bridge eastbound is heavy into Jersey. That's because 42 southbound jams the Walt Whitman Bridge down to 295. 676 southbound is heavy from about Morgan Boulevard down to 42. And 295 southbound slows from 73 down to 42.
This is the Zodiac speaking.
If you do not print this cipher, I will cruise around all weekend killing lone people in the night. From the creators of Atlanta Monster comes Season 2. This is Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app.
For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. I'm Brendan Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show, hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicky Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
I'm Mama Dietz. At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This philosophy started back when my father learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, we put that same level of detail into everything we make. If it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. Dietz & Watson, caring like only family can since 1939.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media.
Hey, Brother Shamari, I hear you talking about JD's Auto Body and Painting. That's where I go.
Nick, I know the owner JD personally, and they always take care of me. You asked me, I told you about JD's when you needed car repairs. I've been spreading the word about their professional work.
I know. I remember now, you sure did. They're at 6300 Wayne Avenue in Germantown, right?
215-848-5949. That's 215-848-5949. I know, I have it memorized.
Now, we both agree that JD's Auto Body and Painting is the place to take your car for all your auto body repair and painting needs. They work with all insurance companies and free towing with repairs.
Yeah, free estimates and senior discounts, too.
But I bet you didn't know JD's has a 10% discount for WURD listeners.
Come on, Nick. I know Juanita, JD's wife since elementary school. Tell them Brother Shamari sent you, and you can mention Nick, too.
Yeah, that's right. Call JD's today at 215-848-5949.
They say home is where the heart is. At Moravia Health, eligible people 18 and over can receive home and community-based services. Home care allows family members the freedom to work and carry on their lives knowing their loved ones are cared for. Moravia Health wants to be your first phone call when looking for premium home care services. Come and experience the Moravia Health difference. The moments that matter deserve quality care from a company you trust. Call Moravia Health at 215-717-8650. That's 215-717-8650. Or visit MoraviaHealth.com. Moravia Health, because there's no place like home.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM. and 900 AM WURD. Independent Black Media.
Welcome back to Urban Insights. This is your co-host, Amadi Braxton, along with Bishop Dwayne Royster.
Yo.
We wanted to pick up where we left off with Councilwoman Gim on the ideas for ending the 10-year tax abatement. It sounds like she's trying to present a variety of bills so to generate some kind of movement around this idea, because people have been talking about it for a few years now. And, you know, there's not just one path forward. And so she is presenting a few possible ways that can be debated and discussed. And, you know, I think it's up to us. And gosh, both you and I are coughing tonight.
I know, it's terrible.
It's up to us, and it's up to the listeners and people across the city and in communities that are being affected directly by this to put our voices in the mix of the debate about how to move this forward.
Yeah, I mean, I had a question because one of the things that the Councilwoman mentioned in the when she was talking was that there's a possibility that they might exempt certain areas, and I'm trying to figure out what areas would they exempt from the tax abatement. You know, are they going to make sure the tax abatement's available to spur development in poor neighborhoods that need redevelopment? She also talked about the fact that there was a possibility of doing it for rehabs, not just new development. And I mean, I can imagine large swaths of neighborhoods, real communities in Philadelphia, not the new made up ones, would need. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that low? I'm sorry.
No,
they changed the names at different areas of town so they could be more appealing to certain people, namely not folk who look like us.
It's called gentrification.
Yeah, gentrification, and that's also racism. But anyway, that's another story. So, you know, I'm like, are they going to go into North Philly? Are they going to go into West Philly? Are they going to go into sections of South Philadelphia? Are they going to go into Germantown and neighborhoods like that and make sure that there's a tax abatement for people that are rehabbing their homes, that they can both access the new loan program that was initiated this last week, but then also get a 10-year tax abatement on their taxes while they're paying that money back for the work that they're getting done on their houses to do improvements. So I think there's a lot of question about that. I want to know where.
And I think the important point about that, I mean, like how it's going currently is that developers are being incentivized, right, to do new development in neighborhoods that are, you know, within proximity to desirable, you know, things geographically, like, you know, SEPTA lines or different parts of the city like Center City, etc. And the people who are bearing the burden of it's like really transferring wealth, right?
It is transferring,
so
absolutely, yeah.
The, you know, working class and lower income communities are the ones that are bearing the burden of financing the city.
That's right.
When people newer to the neighborhoods or who are of higher means are getting huge tax breaks.
That's right.
And it's also not only that, it's a double whammy because the people who are in these neighborhoods, who are pre-existing in these neighborhoods, their property values are being driven up, which makes their tax bill go higher.
That's right.
So it's really a double whammy for people. And so if they're going to, you know, encourage, like if one of the options is to have the tax abatement limited to certain neighborhoods that maybe could use development or could use that kind of incentive, you have to really lower the cap, right? So that you're not incentivizing developers who are going to develop very expensive properties in those neighborhoods and then drive up the cost for everybody else.
That's right. No, I agree with you 100% on that. 100%. I think that it is an you know, I want to see West Oak Lane get redevelopment, right? Rehab money to go there and people to get tax abatements there. I want to see Oxford Circle. Shout out the Living Water Church, a church that I pastored in the city for 14 years before I left.
West Oak Lake is already, I think, is already on the edges of gentrifying right now.
West Oak Lane?
Oh,
like
well, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. I could be wrong. I don't live in that. I don't live near there anymore. But
yeah,
That's what I have been hearing.
I grew up in East Mount area, so I'm right next door to West Oak Lane. So that would be interesting to see if that's occurring. I mean, it's right there on the border of Cheltenham, so it could very well be the case because Cheltenham's taxes are so ridiculous. People are just moving across the street,
right,
living 3 blocks away, but saving thousands of dollars in taxes. But nevertheless, there are neighborhoods that are deeply struggling in Philadelphia that could use some benefit of this and also use an upgrade to the housing. So it tied the new loan program, the low interest loan program, low to no interest loan program, and tied to a 10-year tax abatement. You could actually see some houses really being redeveloped, and also opportunity for a bunch of small business leaders to be able to go in and do this rehab work in the houses across the city, and it's not always going to the big developers. So, all right, we are actually up on another break already. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, because we ran long on the last segment.
We let Councilwoman Gibbon run long.
Yes. So we are up on a break. We're coming up on the 6 o'clock hour. We're going to be joined by the Reverend Greg Holston and Kendra Cochran from Power, left up information about the People's Forum that's going to take place this Sunday at Congregation Rodef Shalom. So they'll be on the air with us when we come right back.
Young and Woke, Fridays on Wake Up with Word, hosted by the Reverend Professor Dr. Aaron Smith. 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today, 267-902-1655. Nina Simone, For Women, is a musical play on stage now through March 31st at People's Light in Malvern, featuring hits like Cinnamon and To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. Nina Simone, For Women imagines the legendary songstress at the site of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, the event that shifted Simone's career from nightclub singer to civil rights activist. For tickets, call 610-644-3500 or visit peopleslight.org. Calling all women business owners. Word has a special offer for you. Grow your business while supporting independent Black Talk media. In celebration of Women's History Month, Word has an exclusive Forward Business membership offer just for you. Join or renew your Forward Business membership now through the end of March, and you will receive an exclusive bonus to market your business on the Word media platforms. Sign up or renew today. Call 215-425-7875.
Witness the legendary ladies of Motown, Mary Wilson and Martha Reeves, as they take the stage at Sugar House Casino Friday, May 17th. Tickets are on sale now at sugarhousecasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, with more clarity, this is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com.
Welcome back to Urban Insights. This is your co-host, Amani Braxton, along with Bishop Dwayne Royster, who has stepped out of the studio for a moment. But on the line right now, we have guests from Power. We have Reverend Greg Holston. Are you there?
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Are you on solo or you have another person with you?
Kendra Brooks from 215 PA Alliance is supposed to be with us. I hope she'll call in shortly.
Oh, okay. Well, we'd love to hear. I know, we had you on last week and we were talking about the upcoming candidates forum that's happening on Sunday, and that you're a part of this larger coalition of folks who have put together this People's Platform. And the forum for candidates for City Council on Sunday is really an opportunity to get them to speak to and react to and respond to this platform. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're really excited that at the Congregation Rodef Shalom at Broad and Green Streets, starting at 3 p.m., will be the People's Forum, a forum for City Council at-large candidates to address the People's Platform that has been put together by 30 organizations in the Alliance for Just Philadelphia, which includes Power as also another organization, another coalition called the MLK Dare Coalition, which represents labor and community groups. So we have a real cross-section of those organizations that have been involved in the justice community here in the city of Philadelphia. We've come together around this platform to really drive this agenda to change and transform our city. And so we're challenging those city council candidates to be with us and answer questions around it.
Well, that's great. And, you know, when we had you on last week, we took people through some of the key points on the platform, including fully funded schools, you know, $15 minimum wage, a lot of different things. You know, there's many sections to the platform, and it has a number of key policy positions that you're asking people to address. So it's a really exciting thing that you all have put together, because it really lays out a progressive vision for the city that's based in justice and dignity for the people of the city.
Rev, how you doing? So I got a question for you. So who's coming? Who's committed to coming? I mean, I think that in, you know, these circumstances where we're trying to reclaim democracy, there's a whole lot of people running for office in city council, both in the districts and in the city council at large. I mean, let's shout out those people that have made a commitment to be there and are going to be responsive to the people. I think that's important for folks to know.
Okay, I have a list of names, but right now about 20 candidates have committed to come, be present, out of the 30 people that are running. And they include, and just a couple off the top of my head, Helen Ginn and Alan Dom, and which are the city council at large presently, but also Melissa Robbins, Asa Khalif, and I'm trying to look for the entire list so I won't forget anybody. But it is a cross section, and it is the majority of those who are running for office. So give me a minute when I'm pulling up that list.
Well, Kendra just called in too. So Kendra Brooks, welcome, and Kendra Cochran, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good. So let me ask a question. Has anybody said no?
Yes, there's somebody that said no.
And did they say why they said no?
In front of me either. Huh?
I was curious why they said no.
I'm unclear why they said no. I know one person had a conflict and could not make it. Others, you know, may simply have not responded.
So, I mean, how many folk are you expecting at the forum?
We're expecting prayerfully 1,000 people to be present. Wow. Right now we have 1,200 listed on our Facebook page. So our goal was 1,000, and hopefully we'll hit it. So
you have 1,000 people coming, and there are people that might not show up or have not committed yet?
Yeah. Well, you know, I can speculate why. We have some difficult things in that platform, and some things that probably those individuals don't want to do, and they know they will be questioned about that. You know, so difficult things in the sense that our city is 26% poverty rate, 14% deep poverty rate. We have serious problems, and we can't have the same old kinds of solutions to those serious problems. And not everybody's ready to take that challenge, to take that dip in the water.
Now,
real change.
There are a bunch of organizations that are sponsoring this in partnership with Power. Who else is a part of this coalition?
Well, let Kendra ask that question while I'm doing this email.
Okay, I can do that. I know more stuff. 215 People's Alliance, Reclaim Philadelphia, CABI, Black Lives Matter Philly, Soil Generation, Soul Collective, Prevention Point, Red Umbrella Coalition, Philadelphia Bail Fund, workers-based organization. I can't think of the name right now.
The Black and Brown Workers Collective?
Maybe it's another one. No. Not Black and Brown Workers. It's another domestic. I don't have the list in front of me.
Okay, that's all right. So, I mean, this is going to be on Sunday. What time?
Doors open at 2 o'clock. It starts at 3.
Okay, and this is at Congregation Road of Shalom, which is at Broad and Vernon?
Broad and Green.
Broad and Green. The big synagogue on Broad Street.
Yes, yes.
All right.
And so, yeah, we're excited about all those who are coming, and other people that are on the list is Sherry Cohen, and Isaiah Thomas, and Sandra Dungy Glenn. Just a few others are on the list. William Floyd Singletary, that will be there as well. And so, again, 20 out of the 30 listed candidates will be present and will be answering questions.
Great. How are you all doing the forum? Could you give us some insight about what people can expect when they get into the forum?
Well, we have questions that are designed off our issues. So we have 12 specific issues, points of contrast. So the questions will be asked by someone that's closely affected to whether the issue is, and they have a amount of time to answer yes or no with a little commentary.
I got you. That's going to be
and if you go to Alliance for a Just Philadelphia website, you get a better view of exactly what the the issues are, what the policies we're trying to move, and have a better idea of what the questions that will be asked, because the coalition is very broad. So it's multi-issued grassroots organizing. So I'm really excited about this forum. I've never seen anything like this, because I've never been a part of a coalition quite like this. Over these last couple months, just being a part of building this platform, I've learned so much more about some of these issues that I didn't realize how much they were related to my everyday life. We talk about land, who owns the land, owns the city. So start talking about land and share a sale. We talk about issues with addiction. We talk about education. We're talking about mass incarceration. We're talking about reentry programs. So this is definitely the forum to be at. I think a lot of the candidates, maybe like Brad said, that aren't ready to answer these questions, because these are real life issues that are affecting Philadelphia. And I think that as Philadelphians, we need to pay close attention on how to answer these questions, because these are people that are setting policy for the next 4 years here in the city. So I'm really excited about these questions. I'm really excited to see, how the candidates fare. It's like, you have a lot of people to choose from. So some people have to rise to the top, and this is the perfect opportunity just to see who's really rising to the top to save on Philadelphia.
Yeah, like you said, there's quite a range of issues here, and I'm just going to, for people who want to see the People's Platform, it's at ajustphiladelphia.org. That's AJUST Philadelphia.org. And then you can click on the link for the People's Platform. And just some of the headings, I mean, and under each heading, there's several points, specific policy points. But the headings are: stop targeting black and brown people, keep Philadelphia accessible and affordable, invest in healthy schools, jobs, and re-entry and affordable, accessible housing, make corporations, developers, and universities pay their fair share, expand community control of land, housing, schools, and energy, make Philadelphia a safe and healthy city for everyone, protect the dignity and respect of all work, ensure a democracy where all can participate. So, and again, under each there's several bullet points under each that have very specific policy proposals. So, all of the candidates are really going to have to get up to speed and determine what their positions are on these things, because they may have they may have clarity about what they think, what their policy positions are in one area, but they need to cover all of these areas. And I think you're right that, it's time to see who's going to rise to the top in a very, very crowded field. So I'm looking forward to the forum.
Actually, I think what's cool about this is that we're reclaiming democracy, and instead of letting the politicians tell us what's important to us, we're actually telling them in a very public way what's important to the people, and then they have a responsibility to make a choice about whether they're going to follow the people's agenda or whether they're going to follow their own agenda. And it's my
the developer's agenda.
You're right. Right. Go ahead, Rev.
Absolutely. I mean, that is also why we on MLK Day, we did a teaching kind of thing to talk about these issues, but also to still hear from the community as a whole. We don't want to be presumptive that all these organizations got together and could speak for the entire community. we wanted to make sure we still hear from the community because there may be other issues that need to be in this platform. And so this is a living document. It's not something that's going to be static. It's going to be living based on as we continue to hear from the community as a whole to make sure that we're doing what the community wants and also putting pressure on our politicians to do the same.
I think that's powerful. I mean, I think that, I mean, honestly, and we were going to talk about this earlier in the show, there's an unprecedented number of people running for every office in Philadelphia. For the first time in decades, every district councilmatic seat is being challenged. And there are over 20 people running for council at large. There are 11 people that are running for city commissioner. 11. Right. I mean, there have been years where we weren't sure anybody was running for city commissioner. So you have 11 people running for city commissioner. There's like 8 people running for register of wills. I mean, certainly we're seeing a boon in people wanting to reclaim their government, reclaim their opportunity to, have a say in the democracy of Philadelphia. And I think it's very exciting. And I think it's even more exciting that the people are jumping up and saying, look, we're going to tell you what we want. And if you want our votes, if you want us to pay attention to you, then these are the things that you have to be talking about, and this is the direction that we want to shape Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is overdue for that. We've been run too long by the puppet masters that have been pulling the strings behind the scenes, and the ones that write big checks, and the corporations that are, basically pimping Philadelphia for every dollar that they can possibly get. I mean, Councilwoman Ginn was on earlier today talking about her tax abatements, but the year before she went on City Council gave Comcast a $140 million tax abatement and tax credit on a building that we didn't need built in the city in the first place. So the fact that Philadelphians, people from the row homes and the apartments and the projects and the barrios and the hoods in Philadelphia are saying this is what we want, I think is 100% where we have to go.
All right, brother, you ready to run, brother? Come on.
Yes.
Don't get me started, y'all.
Right there, right.
Don't get me started.
Getting hype up in here.
Yeah, I get hyper about this stuff only because
it's true. It's true. I agree 100% with what you said.
I mean, honestly, I get sick of this, right? Because there's, let's get real for a sec. I'm not trying to mess up your People's Forum thing, right? But let's get real for a sec. We have the image of black leadership in Philadelphia, but we have the image of black leadership often is working against the interest of the black and brown communities that exist here in Philadelphia. Right? And so who then are they aligning themselves with that are working against the interest of the people that live in the city? It's got to be the developers, it's the Chamber of Commerce, it's other folk like that they're aligning themselves with, that are doing everything they can because we bought into this nonsense that somehow or another we've got to make sure business is doing well for the city to do well. If the city, if the citizens, if the people who are the consumers in Philadelphia do well, then everybody else in the city will do well, not vice versa. And I think we've got to begin to really challenge this notion of this unrealistic capitalism, the way we let corporations drive the city, and we're not letting the people drive the city. And that's why folk need to come out to the People's Forum.
Absolutely.
That was a great advertisement.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, y'all got me on my rant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant like that.
You get one per show.
One per show? That was my rant
a
per
good
show.
one.
We still got 45 minutes. I have another way to get in there.
But Bishop, you're absolutely right. And so the design of this comes out of a sense of really getting the people to clearly define the agenda. And to be able to push that agenda. And now, since we have come up with this platform, even after this forum, there are going to be other forums, other members of our various different organizations are going to probably put those forums on to continue to even get deeper dives into specific areas. Mm-hmm. But after this election is over, there's a platform. Mm-hmm. And there's an agenda. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be holding people accountable to that agenda. And that is the power. The power is not even just the number of people that show up. It's the number of people showing up who have now committed themselves to civic engagement for the rest of their lives and committing themselves to making this city of Philadelphia the kind of place we all want it to be, a place that's reflected in this people's platform. And so this is just the beginning. This is not a conclusion. This is not necessarily the next great effort. This is where we're going, where we're moving, and the train is moving, and they got to get on board. So the people are moving.
Are any of the mayor candidates coming?
This is just the city council at large.
Oh, council at large. Okay. Okay.
But there are other forums, and our platform will be raised up at other places. You know, so.
Well, if you guys could pull together one on the mayoral race, I think that would be helpful. I know it's a lot of times time consuming. I'm just suggesting. I'm just, you know.
I don't know that something will happen either through this continual arrangement or one of the groups themselves will put it on, and we'll all come support that one. But it'll happen.
Gotcha.
Some of the groups are already planning other candidate forums around other races. This is just our shared one for right now. But yeah, I'm excited to see what our coalition partners are willing to do, as well as other organizations. They're willing to, you know, have conversations with other grassroots organizations about the platform. Because one of the things that you mentioned earlier was that this is about the people. This is a movement, right? We're in this time where we have continued being screwed by politicians here.
Come on now.
Right? Period. So this is the time for the people to kind of re-educate themselves about what this democracy is, right? And realizing that these people in office, we pay their salary.
That's right.
Like, they work for us. So we need to redefine what politics looks like in Philadelphia. And this is part of this movement. Like I'm glad Rev brought up that MLK Dear Coalition. We put the platform out there the first time to put it out to other people to see what they thought, and still got good information and was able to tweak it and make things clearer and more responsive to the things that are most important to everyday Philadelphians. And often in city government, everyday Philadelphians are missed, forgotten, or spoken for. So we want to make sure that this platform is their voice. So that's why we were intentional about using grassroots organizations that are working directly on the ground with folks that are affected by these issues. They can go and talk back to the constituency and find out, is this true? Like, is this what you mean? Is this what the policy should look like? And we need to continue to use this platform to educate those communities that don't vote. Because in order for all Philadelphians to win, we all have to be engaged in the process. And people have lost faith in this process because this current political atmosphere that we have in Philadelphia is not serving everyday Philadelphia. You know, people are getting rich off the back of poor people, poor black, brown folks around this city. And we need to make sure that our issues are front and center and holding these politicians accountable because they work for us. And part of that is educating people at various levels. So it's each one of our groups that are part of this coalition. It's our responsibility to take this information back to our base and help them to understand and even learn more about issues that don't directly affect them so they think and to dig deeper into the platform. I mentioned earlier, I personally, as being a part of creating this platform, have taken time to meet one-on-one with various groups about stuff that I wasn't clear on. I wasn't sure where I stood on it, so I scheduled time to meet to find out more information about what does that look like, why is it important, what would a policy look like, and how would that affect my neighbor. You know, like I live in Nicetown. So all of these issues are currently happening right in my neighborhood. You know, my group Stand Up Nicetown, various members of my team have these same issues going on every day, including myself. So it's important that I get better educated to be able to educate the folks that are be boots on the ground, sharing this platform, that we're driving out to the polls to make sure people are coming out to vote because Philadelphia needs to change. And we as Philadelphians have the power to do it. We just need to be activated and motivated to be a part of something that's bigger than us. And I think that this is what we're looking forward to this year. Even the fact that we have all of these candidates, but they're different candidates. It's not the same old. Even though they may not fall in line with what I believe in, they're taking a chance and wanting their voices to be heard. And those are the things that we need to highlight and continue to push. That, you know, Philadelphia is great. Like, I chose to live here. I could move somewhere, but I chose to live here. And how can I make this a better place so my kids decide that they want to stay here? You know, so this is what this is about. It's about building up the people in Philadelphia to realize that this is our city, and we have to take it back.
Go ahead, Rev.
I would just concur with that, but I also would say, and Bishop, you say this all the time. You know, you learn the most from the people who are the most affected. So as we're educating folk on the ground, we're also, when we talk about this platform, we're learning ourselves from the people who are the most affected. They have the best solutions to solve all of our problems. And so it's really an exchange going on from those who are organizing around these issues to those who are facing these pains every day of how we can address these issues and address these problems. That's why I said this platform is a living document. It's going to continue to grow and change as we get to learn more and we hear more from each other. And I'm excited to be a part of that continuing process.
Yeah.
That will build us forward, move us forward.
Well, absolutely. We appreciate that. I need you to do me a favor. So next week at the show, in the 5 o'clock segment, the very first segment, I need you to call back in and tell us who was there and who didn't show up. So that the listeners on the show know which candidates thought it was important to talk to the people and which candidates didn't think it was important enough to talk to the people. So can you all commit to giving us a call back? I'm not going to keep you on the whole segment. We just need to know who showed up and who didn't show up.
Certainly.
All right.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Kendra Brooks and Reverend Greg Holston from the Alliance for a Just Philadelphia, we really appreciate you both being here with us on the show today. And we pray for much success on Sunday at the People's Forum.
If people want to, is there a website people can go to?
It's the Alliance for
Facebook page and
Facebook page.
Yeah. Facebook
It's a
page,
website
the
as well.
People's Forum, and the Alliance for a Just Philadelphia website.
Okay, so we'll post those on our live feed.
Awesome.
Thank you. So this Sunday, 3 to 5 p.m. at Congregation Road F. Shalom, Broad and Green.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Have a great one. Bye.
You too.
You are listening to Urban Insights on WURD. We will be right back.
Philadelphia Theater Company presents How to Catch Creation, March 22nd through April 14th. Christina Anderson's new play follows the dreams, losses, and loves of 4 friends in San Francisco who are creating their professional and personal legacies. Ignited by the works of a Black queer feminist writer from long ago, their lives begin to intersect in unexpected ways. For tickets, visit philatheaterco.org or call 215-985-0420.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Looking for Afrocentric art, gifts, home decor, accessories, custom framing, and so much more? Visit LaBelle Art Gallery, located at 53 Kings Highway East in Haddonfield, New Jersey, or online at labelleartgallery.com. Host your own private event in this beautiful gallery today.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org. Listen live at WURDradio.com.
An adult elephant can weigh up to 6 tons. The average person, 150 pounds. Ever heard of carfentanil? It's a large wild animal tranquilizer. Illegal drug dealers lace heroin with it. It can kill the average human. If you or a loved one is addicted to opiates, even pain pills, don't wait until it's too late. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. We care. Many of us have been where you are. We'll take you or a loved one away from the drug environment to a place you can clean out safely. Plus, we'll work with your insurance company to make sure you get the treatment you need. And with a Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to get away for help without telling your employer why. Call now to save a life. 800-694-1135. 800-694-1135. That's 800-694-1135.
You already know how we level up in Philly.
Jasmine Sullivan is a Philadelphia native singer and songwriter whose debut song, Need You Bad, peaked at #1 on the Billboard Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs list. Sullivan, who graduated from the High School for Creative and Performing Arts, went on to release such hits as Lions and Tigers and Bears and Bust Your Windows, and she has certainly leveled up in the music industry.
Think you've got what it takes? Then join the movement at WURDradio.com for a chance to compete with other young black women from Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles in the Level Up Who's Got Next contest. Level up.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to Urban Insights. This is Dwayne Royster along with Amadi Braxton.
Hello.
So the phone lines are open now. Feel free to give us a call at 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. Or you can call the toll-free number, because some people still like calling toll-free numbers, 1-866-361-0900. Again, 1-866-361-0900. I just want to shout out a couple of people, Jane Cosby, who shouted us out on line, Malika Walls, Deacon Malika Walls, who chaired the Deacon Board of the church that I pastor in Washington, D.C. Good to see you. All the folk that have been checking in with us, Brian Mack, David Collins, Karen Coleman, all those folk that have liked our show, and some who have shared our show tonight. We deeply appreciate you for joining us on social media, even though you have not been able to, you might not be able to get us on the air in Philadelphia because you're outside the area. So deeply appreciate everything that you are doing. Hey, just before we go, I wanted to read this letter, if I might. This is the letter from the Attorney General that he has sent to Lindsey Graham, Dianne Feinstein, Gerald Nadler, and Doug Collins, who are the committees on the judiciary around the Mueller report. Yeah, can I read this on the air? So, it says, "Dear Chairman Graham, Chairman Nadler, and Ranking Member Feinstein, Ranking Member Collins, I write to notify you pursuant to Section 28, paragraph 600.9A3, that Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III has concluded his investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election and related matters. In addition to this notification, the Special Counsel regulations require that I provide you with a description and explanation of instances, if any, in which the Attorney General or Acting Attorney General concluded that a proposed action by a Special Counsel was so inappropriate or unwarranted under established departmental practices that it should not be pursued due to Section 28, paragraph 600.9A3. There was no such instances during the Special Counsel's investigation. The Special Counsel has submitted to me today a confidential report explaining the prosecution or declination decisions he has reached as required by Section 28 CFR, paragraph 600AC. I'm reviewing the report and anticipate that I may be in position to advise you of the Special Counsel's principal conclusions as soon as this weekend. Separately, I intend to consult with Deputy Attorney General Ronstein and Special Counsel Mueller to determine what other information from the report can be released to Congress and the public consistent with the law, including the Special Counsel regulations and the Department's longstanding practices and policies. I remain committed to as much transparency as possible, and I will keep you informed as to the status of my review. Finally, the Special Counsel regulations provide that the Attorney General may determine that public release of this notification would be in the public interest pursuant to 28 section of the Federal Code, Federal Record, paragraph 600.9C. I have so determined, and I will disclose this letter to the public after delivering it to you.
Which is how you just read it, because he disclosed it to the public.
That's right. And so
that's from William Barr, the new Attorney General.
Yeah, that's from William Barr, the new Attorney General. So hopefully Congress is going to get some information this weekend from the Mueller report. This was released in USA Today, just so you know what source we got that from. And we're excited to see what's going to happen here and see what will come out of the Mueller investigation, not to mention the investigation being run by the Financial Services Committee, not to mention the investigation being run by the committee that Elijah Cummings sits at the head of, and I can't think of it for the name life from me right now.
Oversight?
Yeah, it might be oversight, House oversight. There's like 4 different committees that
Judiciary.
that are doing investigations into the Trump administration right now. And somebody please get the man's taxes. Thank you.
I think they've already been got.
You think they got him already?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think because Elijah Cummings was saying that the White House has not responded to any subpoenas that they've sent.
But I think Mueller had them. I think Mueller has them. I think the Southern District of New York has them.
Okay. Well, we shall see what happens with that and on the show. So hopefully next week we'll have some more information with you about that. So,
yeah. Well, I was just going to remind people that they can call in and join the conversation at 215-634-8065 to talk about any of the topics we've discussed, including the Mueller report being finally completed, as well as the People's Platform and what it means to have an actual agenda that was shaped by the people that we're pushing politicians to adopt and address, which is not how business is normally conducted politically here in the city. So that is a really nice turn of events and transformation politically, potentially, for the city to be taking this approach going forward. Like Reverend Holston said, this is only the beginning of a process. And I'll also quote State Rep Rabb always says, politicians lack creativity. So, I mean, if I was a politician here, I would be very delighted to have a set of policies that have already been thought about and laid out for me to chew on and consider and think about. Because a lot of the politicians, you know, and even if they're in it for the right reasons, the people who are running, they may not understand all of these issues, and they may not really understand the impact of these issues on people and the range of possible ideas that are out there that could address these issues. And so this is actually doing people a favor. This is not even just like, oh, we're holding you to account, which it is, but it's also giving people a menu of things to consider and to really chew on and think about. And we're giving you ideas, basically. And that's how it should be. The people should be the ones leading the politicians. It should not be the other way around. And this is an example of proactive grassroots leadership from the people's side, not sitting back and waiting for the politicians to provide leadership.
No, I'm in love with this whole thing. And part of it for me is, you know, in the organizing work that I do, and I've been doing for both here in Philadelphia and then now nationally, but still really with Philadelphia always at my heart, is the fact that we in Faith in Action, the organization I work with, we say all the time that the best policymakers and the best policy experts in this country are not people with PhDs. They're the people that have the PhDs in life and who are struggling and who have been marginalized, who can tell you what is really going to be impactful for their lives.
The people who have felt the pain.
That's right. People closest to the pain are the ones that should be telling you how to fix the problem. And a lot of times we get really cushy people and really super bright people into a room and say to them, how do we fix this problem? And they come up with all these solutions, but most of the time they're not talking to the people that have been most deeply effective, or they get some external organization to go out and do a poll of the people, and then they come back and interpret the poll instead of letting the people interpret it for themselves and tell their own stories. You know, part of this is really about people being able to share their own stories, share their own experiences, be able to tell their own truth, so that people can actually hear it, not third person or second person, but they're actually able to hear it first person and understand the impact of the decisions that are being made by politicians and business leaders, and actually holding them accountable to the very people that they claim that they're serving. So
that's right. That's right.
I'm super excited about this.
I'm excited too.
So I see Val from Maine is on the line. Val, welcome to Urban Insights.
Hi, Val.
Hi, salutations. I have to pull out my earplugs. Hold on. Okay, I pulled out the earplugs.
All right, what's on your mind?
So, actually, a lot of things, but just want to say the Comcast building had a lot of resistance in 2005, but the woman who led that, which I can't remember her name, because she was trying to fight that, because Bush had, that was one of those test things, and they were starting to use what you call domain. What's the term?
Eminent domain.
They were rewriting what eminent domain was. So to create that building, to have that spot. But that's the whole. But anyway, and it got through, and it was successful. So eminent domain, how most people think of it, is not what it used to be since 2005 under Bush. Second thing that I want to speak about is Kellyanne Conway. She used to hate Trump, and I think she still does, actually. But Kellyanne Conway doesn't work for Trump. People keep mistaking it. Kellyanne Conway got talked into being a part of his cabinet by the Mercers, who paid her salary and would pay Bannon's salary. And they set Bannon and her in. Now, I don't know what the Mercers game is, and I don't know what they pay Kellyanne Conway. I know they used to pay Bannon $520,000 a year, and something went down and whatever, and he no longer gets that from them. But Kellyanne didn't have any, and they wanted her to be there. So, and also Kellyanne Conway has come out. She met Trump through her husband, because her husband rented Trump had reached out to him years ago as because he was a lawyer, to speak about some condo issues on a building that he owned, and the husband didn't do that, and he said, well, maybe my wife could help you. So that's how he actually met Kellyanne Conway, was through
her husband.
Yeah, but Kellyanne Conway works for the Mercers, who are some right-wing billionaire machination people, and they actually the daughter is the one who is supposedly pulling more strings more than the father. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Miller also used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to get his money through the Mercers. And that whole alt-right web thing, the Mercers supplies the money for that.
Right, because they were big backers of Breitbart News, which was Bannon's thing before he got kicked out.
So whoever the Mercers are, or whatever, that's the money behind, that's that money chain and whatever, and they wanted her to be there, and I don't know why. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
We should probably note that she might have gotten paid by them beforehand. She actually makes $179,000 a year right now. This is, according to New Jersey Advanced Media, $179,000 a year. The White House is required to put out every year a list of the staffers for the president,
the salaries,
and salaries and how much they get paid. So it does put in there. So just to let you know that. But I mean, she probably did work for him and was probably hired by the Mercers to be able to do the campaign. So. Certainly understand that. Certainly appreciate Val calling in with that information. That's helpful for us. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. So we are actually up on a break and we're getting ready to go into our last segment. And so we are going to be back. You are invited to call in to the show, 215-634-8065 or 1-866-361-0900. Thanks. We'll be right back.
Councilman Alan Dom is building a brighter future for Philadelphia's children, fighting for more school funding, raising funds to support tech education, and personally donating to teach computer coding at Coded by Kids. Listen to Coded by Kids instructor Ashley and CEO Sylvester Mobley.
There are a lot of kids that will have a brighter future thanks to Alan Dom and his contributions to Coded by Kids.
Having Alan Dom make a commitment to transforming people's lives through technology has helped us. I can't thank Alan Dom enough.
Fundraising to teach computer coding, personally donating thousands. Alan Dom is fighting to give our children the opportunities they deserve and preparing them for success. Big ideas, big achievements, a better city for all of us. Vote Alan Dom, Democrat for City Council at large. Paid for by Alan Dom for City Council.
Einstein Bariatrics wants to talk with you about how losing weight can impact every aspect of your life. They know weight loss surgery is no easy decision, but will be with you every step of the way. With nationally recognized expertise and a full team to support you from the moment you reach out, Einstein is committed to doing whatever it takes to help you succeed long after your surgery. They've already helped thousands start a new chapter in their lives and will do the same for you. This changes everything. Get started with a free information session at EinsteinWeightLoss.com.
Support independent black media and join the onWURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
Creator Roofing. That's the company my dad runs. He's a great roofer and a father too. I've watched my dad over the years. He really cares about his customers like he cares about our family. My dad has been a licensed bonded roofer for over 20 years. He runs Creator Roofing, he's a block captain, and he started Streets of Hope, a ministry to feed, clothe, and shelter the homeless. Call my dad because he cares about people at 267-333-1778.
Hi, this is Brandon Wallace, the owner of Creator Roofing. Please give us a call at 267-333-1778.
Nina Simone, For Women is a musical play on stage now through March 31st at People's Light in Malvern, featuring hits like Sinnerman and To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. Nina Simone, For Women imagines the legendary songstress at the site of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, the event that shifted Simone's career from nightclub singer to civil rights activist. For tickets, call 610-644-3500 or visit peopleslight.org.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to Urban Insights. This is Dwayne Royster along with Amadi Braxton.
Hello.
All right, I got a couple of guests in the studios that I just wanted to come in and say hello. My daughter, Joy Royster, and my wife, Suzette Royster, are in studio. Joy, do you want to say hello?
Hi.
So she is up with us today and is on the air. She's actually on Facebook right now, so I wanted to give that experience. Honey, did you want to say anything?
Hello.
So they just wanted to stop in for a minute and say hello. So.
And I would just like to point out that Ms. Joy has been discussed on this show previously, taking action during the what was it the big
walkout, yeah,
the walkout around gun violence.
Absolutely.
We were giving you shout outs and talking about what you were doing and that you're a little fighter and rabble rouser. So we appreciate you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to have you back on the show.
And how old are you?
I'm 14 years old.
Okay, good. Just the kind of youth power we need.
Absolutely. Next generation coming along.
Yes.
So it's all good. All right, we're going to jump back into our conversation we were having around. We have Maurice from Southwest Philly. Maurice, welcome to Urban Insights.
Well, I love your show, and it's nice to see that you have a great family. Now, listen, I want to make it quick on the national and the local politics. All politics are local.
All right.
Mueller is nothing but the Republicans' insurance policy. A lot of people don't realize that. You got a Republican investigating a Republican. He's there to make sure when Trump gets out of hand that they can't handle, they got all the information right there. They collect it in their own pocket. He's not there for us. We keep talking about, Mr. Mueller, he's doing his job. He's not doing that for us. He's doing it for them. So, look, we need to understand that if we want to understand politics. Now, local, when we get to our biggest election in years, Mayor Kenny is running unopposed. Mr. Williams has joined in. I don't know what is he doing, but you can't win an election in a month and a half. I don't know what he thinks. All I see.
Anthony Williams.
Right.
Yeah.
All I see him is doing is trying to take some of the black votes that might go for the other guy. I can't even think of his name. What's his name? That's running against.
You talking about Anthony Williams?
No, the other.
Oh, you talking about Bukovic, Alan Bukovic?
Right.
Yeah.
He's there to make sure that for some reason it just don't get out of hand, and he gets the black vote. So by Williams joining in, that takes the black vote right out of his pocket. So he's done. So we got to understand how politics are being played there. Most of the city council people, they have no challenge, maybe one or two, because they just went in on name recognition alone. Most people don't have enough time to get in their head who are the other candidates and what have they done for them. All they know is that person that put that handicap parking sign or maybe got their street or got their gas turned back on. That's the only people they know.
Yeah.
That's why the election is over in May, and most people don't understand that either. They think they got to November. In this city, everything is done in the primary, and winning the primary, you don't win the main election. So we got to understand what's going on. And the last thing I would like to say, a lot of people on here like to talk about reparations. I'll be first in line, too, if they was giving it out. But it's a process to reparation. That means that we got to vote. We got to have the House and the Senate together to get reparations. So they have to vote on it. So the closest we'll see reparations is 2020, because we got to come out like crazy people and vote like crazy so we can get that Senate back too. As long as people know the process, let's not get people all excited and mad about reparations unless they know the process of getting it.
Right, and also the reparations bill that I think the Conyers had always brought in, and now who's the representative from Texas who put it forth this time? The one who has the braid crown, who I love.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Oh, I can't think of her name right now.
Anyway,
So,
that bill is really about studying the problem, studying the issue, setting up a commission to study the issue of reparations. So, which really isn't a high bar. I mean, what's so hard about that? Why has this been so controversial? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that moves forward. But thank you, Maurice.
Thank you.
All right. And now we have Antoinette in Southwest.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Almost evening.
Yes. I was calling because I wanted to get information on you all. Being as though I was in law enforcement partaking in, the cult of the culture of the police department, and I would like to at least join an organization, that fight and go, the demonic, influence, corruption, and it's like I'm having, a hard time trying to connect those. Because I've been calling, leaving messages, trying to get in touch with black organizations to get involved. And it's just they don't return your calls and, and I just don't know what else to do. So I'm listening to you all because I keep, a word locked on 900 AM. And then, I'm a member, second year member, so.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And I just want to, get involved in the process, being injured, and then fighting, against the city and the police department and, the FOP and, now that I'm able, to get back on my feet, I'm going to get back in the ring, you know what I mean? Because I'm fighting for righteousness.
All right.
I represent, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? And I'm not for no nonsense.
All right.
And, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, Antoinette, listen, I'm going to give you the phone number to Power. Have you called over to talk to them yet?
I had called and I spoke to one of the females, and I think she, I don't know what she said, but she wasn't interested, or you all didn't partake in that, and that was the end of it.
Are you specifically interested in working on issues around police accountability?
I want to get involved in politicians. I want to do what's right for our community, especially us as African Americans, and how our community is being eradicated, and just being just being placed in bondage.
Okay, let's do this, Antoinette. So I want you to call Power again. Ask for Reverend Greg Holston. He's the executive director. Tell him Bishop Royster sent you. I'm going to give you their number right now. Other folk can call and get engaged in the fight, right? They're doing the People's Forum this Sunday. If you can get out to the People's Forum from 2 to 5 at Congregation Road of Shalom on Broad and Green, you should go out to that and participate. Their number is 215-232-7697. Again, 215-232-7697. Give them a call. Tell them Bishop Royster and Amadi Braxton said for you to talk to Reverend Holston, and have a conversation with him, and they'll find ways for you to get engaged in the fight.
Are you mobile enough to get to the People's Forum on Sunday?
With our transportation, being homebound, injured, and hospitalized, and building, and now strong enough, to start doing something, you know. But I want.
You know, we're losing you. You're breaking up. You keep going in and out in terms of the sound on your phone.
I think we lost Antoinette. But
Yeah.
Antoinette, thanks for giving us a call. Give Power a call and ask for Reverend Holston. Sometimes, even in the past, we have done work on helping folks with transportation to various events. So feel free to give them a call. You have the name of the Congresswoman.
Yes, Sheila Jackson
That's
Lee.
it. That's it.
Who also always has the beautiful crown of braids.
She's a queen.
She's the one, she's from Texas, I believe, and she's the one who has now reintroduced, as it's introduced every congressional session, but was originally introduced by John Conyers, the Democrat from Michigan. She has reintroduced his reparations bill. So we shall see where it goes. I mean, this is the first time ever you're having mainstream Democratic presidential candidates coming out saying they're in support of reparations.
You know why? Because in all the elections they've had recently, they've learned that black women are the most consistent Democratic voters in the country. And they're learning about the power of black women in the electorate. Doug Jones in Alabama is sitting in the Senate right now because of black women. Right? Stacey Abrams almost won in Georgia if it hadn't been for the snake that she was running against that used his power as Secretary of State to disenfranchise a whole bunch of black folk. But that was black women that were supporting her candidacy and really put her almost on the top. Andrew Gillum almost won in Florida. For the very same reason. So the reality is that the Democratic Party is waking up the most consistent Democratic voters at 94%. 94% are black women. That's not white men. That's not white women. That's not Latinx folk.
It's not elders.
It's not elders. The most consistent Democratic voters in the Democratic Party are African American women. So you need to talk about issues that are pertinent to African American women if they are your most consistent base. There's a whole bunch of folk that we always pandering to that switch back and forth between Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. Black women, 94% Democratic Party. Democrats, wake up. You better pay attention to the people that are supporting you and keeping you in office.
So before we go, I know we're in our last few minutes here, but I just want to say I went to see the new Jordan Peele film last night.
Oh, Lord.
Called Us.
That film looks scary.
It is scary.
I'm not going to see that film.
But, well, did you see Get Out?
I saw parts of Get Out.
What do you mean you saw parts?
I saw parts that were going to bother me I didn't watch.
Oh, interesting. I'm learning something new about you.
I don't do horror flicks. I do not do horror flicks.
These are psychosocial horror movies.
Look, that's all right. I'm good.
Well, his are the only ones I watch.
Marvel movies. Black Panther. Go Black Panther.
Okay. Well,
Wakanda
one of
forever.
the stars of Black Panther is in this movie, Winston Duke.
Yeah.
As well as Lupita, two of the stars, Lupita Nyong'o,
Yes.
who kills it in this role. She's amazing. But, you know, I mean, I think the power of Jordan Peele's black horror movies are that they're social commentary as
Absolutely.
well.
Oh, sure. For sure.
I highly encourage people to see the film. I thought it was great. I thought it was just as good as Get Out. Yes, it's scary, but, you know, once you get through the first third of the movie and you understand the method of the scariness that you're going to keep seeing throughout the rest of the film, you can deal with it. But it's also funny because, you know, he comes from a comedy background, right? Key and Peele, his show. So there's funny parts, but, you know, it is scary, that's for sure. But it was, you know, I went to a show last night, had to get tickets ahead of time because it was sold out. The show after it was sold out. So I hope this one makes a lot of money like Get Out did, because he is a force to be reckoned with. He's also supposed to be making the Twilight. He's supposed to be doing a remake of the Twilight old TV show that I think may be on Netflix or something. I don't know. It's going to be on a streaming service. So I'm excited to see that too.
Yeah, I'm all cheering for him. I just can't watch it because that's not my thing. I can't
have
do
a
that.
couple drinks first.
No, I can't do that. I won't be able to sleep. I won't be able to sleep.
And Troy, you feel the same way?
Yeah.
Okay, Troy's giving a 2 thumbs down as well. Okay.
No, Avengers Endgame coming up. You know.
Okay, you want to see the superhero
Captain
win.
Marvel, awesome movie.
Okay.
It was an awesome movie. That's a movie for all you women's empowerment out there. You got to go see Captain Marvel. It was incredible. It was incredible.
All right,
and there's a sister that plays the not the lead but the supporting actress role. She was incredible. So.
All right. Well, all you people who can handle the sociological horror flick by our man Jordan Peele, and also get a few laughs in as well, I encourage you to see Us, which is out now in theaters.
Yeah, that's all good.
You're not going to be doing that one.
All right, we got to get ready to go off the show.
Thank you to all our callers tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Councilwoman Helen Gim.
Thank you to Kendra Brooks and the Reverend Greg Holston. Of course, thanks to Mr. Troy Wilmore, our extraordinary producer that's here.
As always.
For Joy Royster joining us on the air briefly today, and Suzette Royster for being here. Of course, Ms. Braxton, for you as always being a great partner in this work that we do together on this show. Thank you very much.
I thank you as well.
And awesome. And we just wanted to stay tuned. Envy McKee's coming up with The Lounge, and we're excited. I was listening to her last couple of weeks. That show is a trip. Y'all need to listen and check it out.
I'm inspired by her energy.
Absolutely. She is hyped up. All right, this is Dwayne Royster and the Mighty Braxton. Go out, change the damn world. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.